I'm going to discuss what to do if you have Parent Plus loans and you want to see if you can get them forgiven. And specifically today, I'm going to talk about, is it even possible to get forgiveness on Parent Plus loans after a lot of the changes happened to Parent Plus loan rules in 2025 and beyond, when you can't do double consolidation anymore to get the really low payments on Parent Plus loans. We're going to talk very specifically about who and how to get forgiveness on these really difficult kinds of debt that can delay retirement too long. So I want to prevent that from happening to you. So let's talk about how to get that Parent Plus forgiveness. So when thinking about how to get Parent Plus forgiveness long term, even when you can't do double consolidation anymore, the big thing is first you might say, what's double consolidation? That's when you do two consolidations of federal student loans to get onto a lower percent of your income than what the formal rules are. So the formal Parent Plus rules say that you can only get forgiveness on something called income contingent repayment, ICR. So that's 20% of your income, which is 100% of the federal poverty line as a deduction. So that's not much of a deduction at all. So just the folks know, that's basically for a single person, you can only earn about $15,000 before they'd start taking 20% of your income. That's enormous. Think about like that as a tax. That's a huge tax. So, to be able to get forgiveness at all, the only way that you could really get forgiveness with that high of a percent of your income you're losing is if you had a pretty low income. So really, to get Parent Plus forgiveness under these new rules, you'd pretty much only be able to do it probably if you had an income less than $50,000, which is pretty low. Now, one thing that I'll say is a lot of couples, especially in retirement, have different types of income. And a lot of times one spouse will have a very low income and it's not that unusual. So an example would be one spouse earned a lot more money, one spouse earned less money, maybe did a lot more of, the child care or caring for an elderly parents or something, and then made less money. And so that lower income spouse might have a lot smaller retirement in their name. They might have a lot smaller Social Security. And so what you might be able to do is maybe say one spouse earns a lot, one spouse doesn't earn that much. The spouse that earns less could file separately for taxes. And then if you borrowed all the Parent Plus loans in that lower income spouse's name, you'd have a good time being able to get low payments on that Parent Plus loans, even if the couple as a unit has a significant amount of income. So otherwise, you'll have a pretty hard time getting Parent Plus forgiven at all if you borrowed in the higher income spouse's name. Another strategy for Parent Plus forgiveness is to defer payments as long as you can. So if you have kids in school, you can defer those payments. And a lot of times people have 2, 3, 4 kids might be able to defer their Parent Plus payments for maybe even 10 years. Because, a lot of times you have the youngest graduates college well after the oldest starts it, right? Or, so there's a lot of years in between when the oldest starts and when the youngest finishes. So you might be able to put off payments for a while, and then you can also do forbearance for about 3 years after graduation as well if you have an economic hardship, which most servicers will just approve you for if you call and ask. So that's a pretty powerful thing. And, I'll say that six-figure debts are the easiest to get forgiven. I just think it's probably not worth it to go for forgiveness on a 30K kind of loan for Parent Plus, just because it's quite difficult to get something on an income-driven plan. It's maybe costly sometimes to file taxes separately, creates additional complexity. Really where I see Parent Plus forgiveness making a lot of sense is for a middle-class family that didn't save as much as they wish they had saved for retirement, but still wants to be able to retire and does not want to have to put off that retirement to pay $2,000 a month or $1,000 a month for 10 years until their loans are gone. So that's really who Parent Plus forgiveness is really built for. And with double consolidation, a lot of families can get access to it, forgiveness. And, until that deadline, it's very important to get help. StudentLoanPlanner.com is a place that you can go to get it. But after the double consolidation ends, Parent Plus borrowers are going to have, like I said, a harder time. But it's still on the table for people that really know what they're doing and have a very specific set of circumstances that could really justify going for forgiveness and making that the best thing to do instead of trying to pay it back. So if you have any questions about Parent Plus forgiveness, put it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And thank you for following and subscribing to Student Loan Planner.